What's up, guys? Welcome back to Classic Octane. I am Taylor. Name of the game today is to finish up the KZ750 Scrambler exhaust. If all goes well, we're going to fire this thing up and see how it sounds. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Dan down at Cafe Racer Garage in Australia. If you haven't checked out his channel, go do so. I'll put a link in the description below. He's doing a CX500 Scrambler where he's like making the whole seat from scratch. He's done a CB550 with like modern gold forks, kind of a Walking Dead Daryl Dixon style build. And he just puts out some really good content. I want to show him some love. Him and I have been talking back and forth for the last couple of months on builds and kind of bouncing ideas off each other. And just a really good dude. So click that link in the description, go check out his channel, and subscribe if you like what you see. So where we left off last time is one of the things we had left to do was to add the springs that actually hold our kind of sections of exhaust together. If you're not familiar with these, basically what they're going to do is kind of span this gap of the two pipes. You know, this one obviously slides into that one. Traditionally, there is a little hoop kind of like this. You put it on here, you weld it on. That gives you, a place to kind of hook one side of the spring. You have a matching one on the other side. Basically hoop between the two. That's what gives you your connection. I wanted to add kind of just a very small detail that 99% of people would miss, but I think it's pretty cool. Basically what I did is I took a chain. So this is a standard like 530, 510, whatever it is, chain. Punched the link out of it, bent the link at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to TIG weld the chain link right there. And then that's going to be the place where our spring will connect to. And if you remember, these exhaust pipes are going to be wrapped. So the wrap will cover kind of half of this. So you'll just see basically one half of a chain link, 4 of them. And like I said, most people would never notice that, but I think it could be a cool little detail of, using motorcycle parts to build a motorcycle. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So what I need to do is basically just figure out the total length of this spring. I'm going to add about a ½ an inch or so to give us like the actual compression, and then take these in place. Got them welded on. Figured I'd show you what they look like before I go hit everything with some black paint. I think that turned out pretty nice. Just a cool little touch. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot everything with some high heat black paint. This is designed for up to 2,000 degrees like it says, so it should be just fine for exhaust. It literally has pictures of headers on the can itself. So I'm going to go ahead and rough everything up and give it a nice coat of black. So I went ahead and let the pipes dry overnight. I put 3 coats, a couple of minutes in between each coat, and like I said, been sitting overnight, so the paint is fully cured. It is a little bit chilly here in Texas, so I just wanted to make sure it was totally dry and cured before we start to wrap it. So this is the exhaust wrap. This is technically a titanium exhaust wrap, so you don't necessarily have to soak it. I didn't soak it when I did the wrap on the Triumph, and as you can see, a year of riding later, I mean, we are still doing perfectly fine. But I wanted to go ahead and try the wrap on this one. Try the soak on this one. So I've been letting it soak for probably 20 minutes now, and I am ready to start wrapping. I'm going to start with the longest piece. We're going to wrap kind of starting from the exhaust manifold a little bit further back to allow the clearance for the actual flange itself. Then we will just kind of tightly wrap it all the way around, and I'll show you what we do once we get down towards the end. So what I like to do for these wraps is I put one end in my vise over here that's mounted on the bench, and then have the other end all the way out. So you see I kind of got it started just because it's kind of hard to show on camera, but basically what I did is just wrapped it around twice, exactly where we want to start. And then I've just started, and I'll kind of show this here in a second on the tripod, just pulling back to keep tension on here and then rotating the pipe. And the idea here is that we keep a really good tension on this, so the wrap is nice and tight. We overlap maybe half or so of the width on each wraparound. You can kind of see so far. And then again, the idea of wetting it is now once we get it on the bike and we start it, we'll let it run for a while. It'll kind of heat up all of that moisture and let it kind of evaporate, and it will tighten as it dries. So it'll get even tighter. But I'll set you guys up on the tripod. We'll wrap this whole pipe and then move on to the next one. You also want to make sure to wear gloves when doing this, because these little fibers will get stuck in your skin and it feels terrible. So there's the first one wrapped. I've put 2 of these metal zip ties. I just get them from Home Depot, but they're the same ones that come with the wrap itself. Just because obviously you're not going to use plastic zip ties on here, and then hose clamps wouldn't look very clean. So nice tight wrap. You see we try to keep it pretty uniform. Unfortunately, this is how much wrap I have left. I had 50 feet between the 2 exhausts, and I mistakenly thought that was going to be enough. So we're going to go ahead and put this together as is, and we will just order some more and wrap this pipe at a later date, later this week. But it's not going to stop me from putting it together and hearing what it sounds like. I do have some new copper gaskets going in as well, so let's go ahead and throw that exhaust on here. I already off camera swapped the jets on this carb, so we have our new jets in both sides now. So the exhaust is back on. Of course, we only have 1 pipe wrapped right now. But you can kind of see how the springs worked out. So there's a good amount of tension on there, kind of holding those together. I think that's going to work out really nicely. We will, again, wrap this whole piece. You know, kind of both of these tubes will be wrapped up to this point, and obviously that's going to be wrapped as well. But this is actually going to give us a good opportunity to throw a, my infrared thermometer on this pipe and this pipe at kind of the same time and see what our exhaust wrap is actually doing in the way of, blocking heat. I think we're ready. I have my auxiliary fuel tank hooked up. I haven't started this bike in a couple of weeks. I haven't started it at all with these jets, so there's a possibility it won't start at all, but let's see what happens. Let me turn the key on. Okay. Choke. Let's see. Up a little bit since it's so cold. Burning off. Keep in mind we've done 0 carb tuning at all. All we did was rejet it, so see, I also haven't made my rear mount yet. So that'll take care of that vibration you're seeing there. So far, so good. This is by no means scientific, but no wrap, a little over 300 with wrap, high 100. So you can see there's, we're talking about half of the temperature coming off this pipe versus this pipe. So, and again, that's not super scientific. This pipe is shorter than this one, but just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of the reason why we did this. You can see she runs really good. A couple pops and bangs in there. Again, we have not done any of like fine tuning for the carbs for any kind of lean spikes or anything like that, but for the most part, she's running great. Really happy with how that is turning out. So again, we definitely need to, I didn't even bother putting the exhaust clamp on for this because it fits so tight, but we are going to put that exhaust clamp on and figure out the mount. I'm going to wait for the mount right now just because I want to show you guys in the next couple of videos what I'm going to do with this open space. So we'll wait on that, but we are definitely going to put a rear mount on there, so don't worry about that vibration you were seeing at the muffler. We'll take care of that soon. But man, for my first ever Scrambler exhaust, I mean, it sounds great. We're not getting any leaking around the manifolds. We're not getting any leaking around the pipes here that I could tell. So she seems to be pretty happy. For those of you that were worried about the heat on the rear shock, I just ran the exhaust. I mean, the exhaust pipes are still 200 degrees. And this rear shock is 66 degrees. So there's basically no heat transfer coming out of here. It's just there's enough space, especially this is worst case scenario because the bike isn't even moving, so there's no airflow coming over here, and this is still, like I said, 66 degrees, so not a problem. All right guys, that's where I'm going to call it on this one. I'm really stoked on how this project turned out. I do wish we could have wrapped it all today, but that's an oversight on me and I apologize, but we'll get more wrap, finish this up. Like I said, we are going to make a mount for the back of this, but we'll do that when we do what we're going to do to this open section back here. So that's going to do it for the exhaust today. I am actually going to jump right into the next video that you guys are going to see in a couple of days because we got a box from Tuffside seats, which means our custom Scrambler seat came in and I want to get it mounted up and show you guys what it looks like. So make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out Dan's channel, Cafe Racer Garage, link in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next couple days.